Hello and welcome to Parent University. Tonight we are going to be looking at how to support your elementary student in ELA and reading and writing. My name is Allison Godowns. I am the 3rd through 5th grade ELA instructional coach. Also tonight you will see Ashley Shepard, and she is our 3rd through 5th grade ELA administrator. So our outline, we are going to be looking at ELA perspectives. Reading every day, reading strategies, reading and writing in our world, stay in the know, and what is my child learning? Resources to help your writer and resources to help your reader. So we have a robust outline, so let's get started. So thinking about perspectives. So how we feel about ELA is going to have an impact on how our students or our children feel about ELA. Think about how you, whenever you react to something, your child is going to typically react very similarly. So have a positive mindset about reading and a way to approach reading. So here we have a little boy that is sitting with his mom and they are reading. They might be, the little boy might be struggling with some of the words, not sure how to pronounce them or not sure of the meaning of them. And his mom is providing that positive outlook, that positive perspective on how to become a better reader. Okay, and this is one of those statistics that really just blows my mind every time I see it. The importance of reading every day. Students who read 20 minutes per day will be exposed to about 1.8 million words per year, and more likely to score 90% higher than their classmates on standardized tests. So just take a minute and think about just 20 minutes per day means that your child is being exposed to 1.8 million words per school year. And this kind of breaks it down. The 20 minutes per day, that means that they are reading 3,600 minutes per school year. They're scoring in the 90th percentile. Child B, who reads 5 minutes per day, they read about 900 minutes per school year, which is about 282,000 words per school year. Those students typically score about 50% in the 50 percentile range. And then our child C, who reads 1 minute, is only reading about 180 minutes per school year, and is only being exposed to about 8,000 words per school year. And they typically score closer to the lower percentile of around 10%. So just thinking about how you can spend 20 minutes per day reading with your child and how big of an impact it is going to make with them. We have a lot of programs within our Clever resource that your student can work on and be able to read independently as well. Okay, so some strategies for beginning readers. Early readers can partner read with a parent or sibling. You read a page and let your child read a page. So this is something that I like to do with my youngest daughter. We like to share, read, and I'll read a page, she reads a page. And it makes it so that we can read a little bit more complex of a book than she can read on her own. And it makes it very interesting, and it's just fun. It's a fun bonding experience with your children as well. Adult reads the book first, and then they talk about the keywords and vocabulary. You talk to your child about the questions, kind of ask them some questions about what the book may be about, and then afterwards, let your child read to you. As the book is being read, ask your child to create a video in their head to help with comprehension. So kind of letting them know, what would this be like if we created a TV show or a movie out of this? Who are some of the characters that you would see in that movie? Where is the setting and what is the plot? Thinking through the different parts of the book. Some more strategies for beginning readers. What if my child runs across an unfamiliar word? Let them try it first. You can then assist with strategies if needed. Sound it out, skip it, and read the rest of the sentence, and then go back to the skipped word and brainstorm words that would make sense. Use context clues. Look for a smaller word Look for familiar parts of the word, such as using word chunking and using picture clues. So these are all strategies that our teachers are teaching our students as they are also working with them on reading. We can do this at home, encouraging them to use those context clues, using things like synonyms and antonyms that they may find within the word or within the sentence or surrounding sentences to figure out what that word may mean. And reading strategies for comprehension. So, it's important for our students to learn how to read, but we also need to make sure that they are comprehending what they're reading. So these are some of the strategies that will help with that recognition, that comprehension. Asking your child to retell the story. What happened in the beginning, the middle, and the end? There's lots of charts and anchor charts and things like that that you can use for activities like this. Pay attention to their sequencing. Prompt as needed, and then let them try it without your help first. Read the book or the passage with your child, and then give your child a piece of paper and ask them to draw pictures to match what they are saying. And so this is just another part of getting to understand what you are reading, and it's just another step in the reading process.
Right, so as Allison said before, my name is Ashley Shepard, and I'm the 3rd through 5th ELA administrator here at GCA. And so now we're going to talk about promoting reading ideas with our independent readers. And so for our older kids, sometimes it's a little harder to get them more engaged and interested in reading books, but there's definitely ways that we can do that. So one way to do that is to reenact their favorite books. So you can actually take a scene from one of their favorite books and act it out. And you could be a character, your student could be a character, and really just get into it. Then finding a cozy space for reading. So it could be a corner somewhere in their room, in the den, the family room, could be in just a small space for them. And they could have blankets, pillows, and some of their favorite books. Family reading time is also a great strategy. When students see us doing something, then that creates a culture for them. And so having a family reading time together is very important. Reading aloud with your child, and that could be in the form of hosting a book club with family and friends. So it could be virtual. If your students have cousins across the country, they could read a book together, or it could be face-to-face. Some local libraries also have that as an option. Reading different types of text is also very important. So it doesn't always have to be a book. It could be a magazine. It could be a digital article. They could read on their Kindle, blogs, newspapers. We really want students to understand that reading is all around, and it's not just in a book that's assigned to them in Sora or a book they get from the library. Keeping a reading log is another great strategy. And what that does is it helps students see over time the types of books they've read, how much time they've spent reading those books, the number of pages they've been able to read as well. And then using a reward system is another great strategy. And it could be for something that's tied to books. If your student already loves reading, you could allow them to go to the local library and get additional books, or go to a bookstore and get books they can keep. If they're not so much into reading, you could use reading to tie into other rewards. So for example, let's say your student is really into soccer and they like playing it at the park. So maybe have a reward system set up with them where if they read a certain number of books, or if they finish a certain number of pages, then maybe they get to go do an activity like playing soccer in the park. And then also writing a book review is a great strategy for students as well, because kids really love to critique others, and they think that it's really cool when they can critique adults, because a lot of times adults kind of run things. And so it gives them a chance to kind of say, oh, well, actually, I didn't like this part, or this part could have been better. And they really get into that. So strategies for writers. So if your student is an early writer, meaning they're just kind of developing their writing skills, they can copy words around the house. And so that could be done on sticky notes. They can have an actual journal that they write them in and be a word collector or word detective. And then also daily journaling is a great idea as well, to just get students writing. And so we don't necessarily want to spend a ton of time focusing on starting off. We don't want to focus so much on the grammar, punctuation, spelling. If your student is a struggling writer, we just want to get them writing. And then we can move into more of the mechanics of it. So having them publish their writing, they can make a book. When I was actually in first and second grade, my teachers had us submit our writing to this company that made hardback books for us. And so that's something that I have, and I cherish it to this day. And so there are companies that are available to make your students' writing into a book that they can actually read themselves. Writing a letter to a friend or family member. This is huge, especially if you are a family that celebrates holidays. Now that it's Thanksgiving, Christmas time, Hanukkah, things of that sort, then this is a great option for students to write out letters to family members, write out letters to friends. Snail mail is kind of something that is not done as often. And so it might not even be something that they're even familiar with or know how it works. And so it's a great opportunity for students to write out the addresses on your cards that you're sending to friends or family members as well and get them involved with that. Giving them the choice of a free topic. So letting them pick is a great way to get their creative juices flowing, or giving them a specific topic is also good practice because on our assessments, they'll be given a specific topic to write about. There are tons of prompts on the internet. So just Googling writing prompts for third graders. That's a great way to find some ideas as well. Mixing in nonfiction and fiction writing so that students have a variety of different types of writing is also beneficial. Comic books. So especially for our upper grade students, they love graphic novels. And so giving them the chance to actually create their own comic book is a great way to tap into their creativity. And it ties in drawing pictures along with their text. Writing a story together. So this is a strategy where you could have your family or group of friends sit, and you could sit in a circle or you could sit in a row and have the first person start the story. Then pass the paper, or pass the tablet or whatever you're using onto the next person, and then you just keep going. And then the person who's at the end gets to read the story. So kind of like if you've ever done Mad Libs, if you've done Mad Libs before, same kind of concept, but a little different because you're adding on different people onto your story. Then starting a story and then letting your child finish it. So same kind of concept, except you just would have yourself and your child. And then you, of course, can talk about the paths of the story, if it made sense, the direction, things like that. And then on the right side, we have some of the software that our teachers use with our students. And these are apps inside of Clever. So we have Writable and Writing A to Z, and we'll get into that more a little bit later. So now we want to talk about reading and writing in our world. For our students, it's very important for them to understand that reading and writing are not just something that they do in school. They can do it everywhere. And one way to do that is to play games. And so, of course, we have Scrabble. It's a classic. And this game is helpful for students because they're having to think vertically and then also horizontally to build words. Excuse me. And everybody loves a good competition. And then Apples to Apples Junior. So this one is a game where you would play in a group. And so whoever turn it is to go, they would get a noun. So they would get a person, place, or a thing on the card. Then the other people that are playing, they all have adjectives in their hands to describe the nouns. And so sometimes they fit, sometimes they don't. A lot of times they're funny and they're silly. And so they have to find the adjective that the person whose turn it is most likely to pick. So if they think, oh, okay, this person likes jokes, so I'm going to pick a silly adjective to match with that noun. And then you would reveal the adjectives, and then you don't tell who's whose. So you have to flip it over, guess, and then that person gets the points. And then whoever gets the most points wins that round. Then we have headbands. And so for this one, there is actually a digital version of it on an app you can download on your phone, and I cannot remember the name of it. But essentially, when you have it, so it's just something you put on your head, and there's a word, but the person who's going can't see the word that's on their head. The people that they're playing with have to use adjectives, so they have to use describing words to get that person to guess the word that's on their head. And then whoever wins gets those points as well. So that's a lot of fun too. And then we have Boggle. And so with this, it's kind of like an interactive word search. The letters are scrambled, and then you try to see how many words you can build from those letters. All right, so then we also have reading and writing all around us, and this doesn't require buying anything. Well, not buying anything additional that you wouldn't already buy. So we want to have kids really consider the ways in which words are in our world. And so let's think, where can we practice reading and writing in everyday life? Cooking recipes. That's a great way to incorporate not only reading, but also math. And that could be something where your student reads out the ingredients to you. Maybe they are reading the labels on those ingredients. Maybe they're getting the seasonings for you, getting those items for you to cook together. Putting together furniture. If you are somebody who buys a lot of things, I know my husband's tired of seeing Amazon packages because it means those are things he has to put together. And so there's directions that come with that. And so explaining to your child of, oh, there's a certain order, there's certain steps that we have to follow in order to build the structure, and we can read it because we're able to read. Driving, so billboards, like we have the Chick-fil-A cows that are always trying to convince us to eat chicken instead of them. Street signs, names of stores, reading is all around us. One tip you can also do is if you have a student who likes to watch TV, have them turn on the closed caption for a TV show or a movie. And with that, what that's going to do is it's going to help them match the auditory sound with the words that are on the screen. If your student's an English language learner, you could have them listen to the words in one language and then read the text in another language. And so this would work, especially if it's something where they have already seen the show or the movie. So they know what's going on, but now they have the opportunity to match the words and maybe even learn how new words are spelled. Because a lot of times our students haven't actually seen words written out if it's not a word that they've used often or read in a text. And then also, of course, reading menus. So if you are out to eat or ordering at a restaurant or something like that, letting your student decide what they want to choose and using it based on the menu. Okay, so a few things to remember: that word recall does not always equal comprehension. So for our students, we want to keep in mind that though they might be able to read what a word says, they might not actually understand what that word means. And so we want to probe them, meaning we want to ask them questions. So when we're doing that, we might ask them, okay, well, where did you find your answer? So where in the text, or what clues or evidence let you know that that's what that word means, or that that's what's happening in the story. Sometimes this can also be found in the pictures. How do you know this is correct? Or how do you know you are correct? And really ask them to prove it. So prove that that's right. And a favorite one of mine is for you to give them a wrong answer and then have them prove you wrong. So once again, like we talked about earlier, kids love to prove adults wrong because it doesn't happen very often. And so giving them that permission to do that and then showing them, okay, so if you think I'm wrong, challenge me. How do you know? Where did you find that evidence? And so here's some examples of how you can be aware of what your child is learning. And so really asking them, so what did you learn in reading today? Can you show me some of what you worked on? And that could be in a that could be in a hardcover journal. We do use interactive notebooks, interactive journals here at GCA. And so students are taking notes. It could be digitally. A lot of our 3rd through 5th grade teachers use Google assignments to be able to track what their students are doing. And so you can have them pull up what they've been working on in order to be able to see what it is that they're writing, what it is that they're reading, having them pull up their book in Sora that they've been reading lately, and really just talking to you about what's happening in that text.
Thank you, Ash. Thank you, Ashley, for showing us all of those great strategies and talking about how we can find reading and writing in our real world as we're navigating, going to and from school and running all the errands. So now we're going to look at Clever. We have lots of resources located within Clever that are going to help us with teaching your student to read and to write. There are lots of different types of programs, and all they have to do is log into Clever and use their Gmail account to access those programs, those resources. Here are some of those resources that we are using, and you are probably very familiar with many of them. Nearpod, I'm sure you see Nearpod very frequently in your classroom, in your students' classroom. Vocabulary is a fun one. This is the one that gets the song stuck in your head after listening to that. And then iExcel, BrainPop, and Study Island. And all of these are iExcel provides us a great standards-based activities that are aligned to our Georgia state standards. Our teachers are able to go in there and assign things to either enrich the curriculum or enrich the content for your students, or give them remediation. If there's something that they need some extra support in, they can assign those as well. And then also, we have the own grade level content. Also, we have FLVS, Newsela, Writable, and TutorMe. So I think most of you are probably very familiar with FLVS. That's where our modules are located that we are progressing through as the school year goes on. And then Newsela is a resource that many of our teachers use. You may see that used in cross-curricular, and it is very cross-curricular. It has our social studies teachers have been using it to teach some of the concepts that they are working on, as well as our ELA teachers are teaching. And with them, it may be looking at two articles and comparing and contrasting the articles, but the articles may be social studies based or history based. So that is a great way that our teachers are able to cross-curricular plan. And then Writable. Writable is a platform where we are able to put assignments in there, and our teachers are able to grade those constructive responses within Writable. And then TutorMe is the resource that you are able to use if you would like additional support throughout the school year. All right, and then we just want to make sure that you know that you are always invited to come to our class. We would love to have our parents alongside the students as they are in the classes, and we just love to have you nearby. Feel free to ask any questions. At the end of class, if there is time, you could ask those questions at the end of class, or if there's something that you want more clarification on, you could send the teacher an email. That is the preferred mode of communication during class times. We want to make sure that is more focused on our students. But just, you can always learn things as you're listening into those class sessions. And just an example this made me think of was a couple of weeks ago, my daughter was taking a driving class, and there were so many things that I learned that I do wrong when I'm driving because I was listening in on those conversations and learning alongside of her. And stay informed. One thing that we want you to always be aware of is, what we are basing our content on. So we're always basing our content on our Georgia standards that we take from the Georgia DOE. I have put the link in the chat for the standards. And if you have any questions about any of the standards or need more clarification, you can go there to research and figure out what are these standards about and how can I help my student know more about them. We can also help you with any of those questions that you have as well. And we would just like to thank you so much for coming. We appreciate your time and your attention to this important topic of reading and writing and helping your student learn to become a better reader and writer.